Okay, I just wanted to give you a quick overview of what this course is all about and how your marks in the course are going to be calculated. So this is MDM4U, Mathematics of Data Management, and we are in the e-learning version here. So what is this course about? Well, basically, there are three big parts to this course. The first half of the course, we are going to cover statistics. The second half of the course, we're going to cover probability. And then throughout the course, you're going to be working on a large project, which really contains more statistics than it does probability. But those are the three big things that you have to complete in order to finish this course. So if we look at how your mark is going to be calculated here, 70% of it is term work. By term work, we mean any assignments or any tests that you do during the term. So there's some for statistics, there's some for probability, and these two large groups, statistics and probability, are then broken down again into, for instance, statistics is broken down into a section on statistical analysis and a section on organizing data. Each of these is worth 15%. So altogether, all of this stuff is 60% of your final mark. Okay. The other thing that counts as term work is some work that you're going to do towards your project, where you're going to submit some proposals for what you're going to do, some reports on what you've done along the way, and you'll get feedback on that, what we kind of call formative aspects of the project. That is the remaining 10% of the term work. Then halfway through the course, you're going to write a statistics midterm on the statistics stuff that you've learned. That's 10% of your final mark. At the end of the course, you're going to write a probability exam, which is another 10% of your overall mark. The final exam is just on the probability part of the course. And you're also going to write a final report on what you found in your project. And those three things together form the 30% that is sort of the summative part of your final mark. So overall, statistics stuff is 40%, probability stuff is 40%, that's term work and exam, and the project is 20%. Okay. So this, you're able to download and print off a copy of this page. It just lists all of that stuff out. What's important to follow along here is we've got sort of the expectations that each of these sections is going to cover. We have the units that things are broken down into, so unit 1, 2, sort of the title, one variable statistics. Number of days it's probably going to take you, 8 days. A target date, which is the date you should have completed all of the work by and submitted the assignment in order to be working through the course at the appropriate pace. Now with an e-learning course, you can work a little bit ahead, you can sometimes be a little bit behind, you can pace your own learning a little bit. So in addition to the target date, there's a deadline date. Now these deadline dates are the dates after which the assignments will not be accepted anymore. So for one variable statistics, there are two assignments. There's a little distribution activity. There's what's called the one variable assignment. After March 7th, this deadline date right here, neither of those two things will be accepted. Okay? Then next you're going to move on to unit 3-4, normal distribution and two variable statistics. These 4 units together, there's going to be one test, the statistical analysis test that you write that's going to cover those 4 units. So even if you haven't handed in all the assignments, by the time you get to March 23rd, you're going to want to write that statistical analysis test. Okay? And then along the way, there are these parts of your project that you're going to complete, and you should complete this in stages. Basically, you'll complete the first stage at the end of the first 4 units, submit it, and then you'll have to submit it before you can move on to the next section on organizing data. And this just proceeds throughout the rest of the course. Okay, so you can see this is the statistics half of the course, then the probability half of the course, similar sort of thing, assignments for each of these units, a test that covers 4 of the units, right? And then a little chunk on your project down in here. And finally, the course project. Again, these are the little parts that you'll submit at the end of every 4 units: a topic proposal, a report on secondary data, a survey proposal, and a primary data report. And then put it all together to submit your final report in towards the end of June for your final mark. Okay? So that's how your mark is going to be calculated. What does this all mean? Well, the first part of the course is on statistics. What is statistics? Basically, it's a way of obtaining information from data using mathematical operations. So we're really going to be focused on using mathematical tools to figure out what we can from some collection of data we have. So it's expressed here that data is the raw material from which information is obtained. We want to extract some information or some conclusions from the pile of data that we have. So in the first half of the course, we'll be looking at making graphs and tables. We'll be looking at analyzing data. Specifically, we're going to be using software to do both of these things. The second half of it, the organizing data half, we're going to be looking at types of data, how you're going to collect the data, and then certain problems that you can have with data and sort of how you can correct them. Statistics, on the other hand, to put it sort of generally, statistics is about looking backwards. We've got a bunch of data that we've collected here, and we want to figure out what is a way of describing the rules or a way of describing the situation out there in the world that would have given us the data that we have collected. Probability is sort of the opposite. It's about predicting. It's about looking forward. So in probability, we have a lot of knowledge about a certain situation, or we have a set of rules that we believe the situation is followed. We want to predict what we would find if we were to actually make our observations. What data would be likely to get if we were to observe a system that obeys these rules. So why are these two topics in the same course? Because they ask different questions about sort of similar situations. Okay, what kind of situation might be, you can imagine a sock drawer. Okay? Statistics might ask you, if you pull 10 random socks from the drawer, you get 4 white socks, 6 red socks, and 2 black socks. If there are a total of 100 socks in the drawer, how many of them are red? So what we've done here is we have taken a sample of data, those are the socks that we've pulled out, and we're trying to figure out the properties of the population, or all of the socks that are in the drawer. The sample are the 10 that we pulled out. The population would be the 100 that are still there. So we're taking some data here, and we're trying to work backward to figure out the situation in the sock drawer that would give rise to this data. Probability, on the other hand, might ask a question like this. If we know that there are 30 white socks, 20 black socks, and 50 red socks, what is the likelihood that if we take 3 socks at random, they're all the same color? In this case, we're given information about the population. We're told the number of white socks, the number of red socks, and the number of black socks, and we're trying to figure out what we would likely get if we took a sample from this data.